I'm very confused by the naming of this film. The 2010 film Christmas Cupid is actually based on Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, and nobody plays Cupid. You can argue that the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future are trying to get our protagonist, Sloane, to reevaluate her romantic choices. But I wouldn't say that it's a Christmas romance. So I think the title is absolutely awful, and I need to get that out of the way now, because a lot of the other things I have to say are actually really positive. But there is one more negative thing that I will point out first. I don't normally like to start a review with all of the negatives, but these two things, the title and this other aspect, just really annoyed me for some reason. And I don't know why it annoyed me, because on its own, had I never heard of Charles Dickens and didn't know A Christmas Carol, I wouldn't have been bothered by this. But because I do, and because people watching this who are aware of that inspiration are going to be expecting something, the decision to have one of the ghosts as somebody who's actually still alive on Earth was a terrible idea. I don't think that worked very well at all. And the decision to have one of the ghosts as Santa Claus, I thought was just very peculiar. And I feel like if they just kept it more traditional, it would have been more enjoyable. Also, the third and final negative thing before I get into the positives, Sloane Spencer, played by Christina Milian, is not really a bad person. Like, yeah, she's making some poor romantic choices, but she doesn't really need the help of ghosts, present, past, and future. She's not really a bad person. She's a bit misguided, bit too career-focused. But really, I feel like they should have made her a lot worse for it to be effective. She didn't really need to change that much about who she was. She just needed to be told a few home truths. But, you know, I have seen Christmas Carol-inspired films where the protagonist is basically perfect and they're still being visited, so it could have been a lot worse. Sloane is up for promotion. She's obviously heavily focused on her career, and she is dating who the audience can see is basically not the right person for her. She can't see any of this. And then, I won't tell you who the ghost, who the Jacob Marley character is, because it'll spoil something. But I will be really pleasantly surprised by that, because I did not expect it. The person who is the Jacob Marley character, I didn't think it would be them. I can't say any more than that, because it will ruin maybe the first 10-15 minutes of the film. But I really enjoyed that character a lot, and I thought they kind of embodied the right personality and made a lot of sense. But going back to the whole Sloane situation and how she's not really that messed up or that nasty, I think those characters should have been swapped. I think the Jacob Marley character would have been a lot better as the one who had lessons to learn. But that would have been my preference. Some very classic messages in here about spending time with your family, about not being a mean boss, and basically the traditional messages you can expect from A Christmas Carol. So I think some poor choices were made in terms of narrative. I think maybe they were trying to be different, which I get. You know, there are so many adaptations and interpretations of A Christmas Carol that most versions now try and do something different to put a little twist on it. But that doesn't always work. So it could have been great, but I would say that it was okay. Ashley Benson plays Caitlin Quinn, a character that I love, or love to hate, love to be annoyed by, I guess is the most accurate. And the relationship on screen between Christina Milian and Ashley Benson is really enjoyable to watch. Not the most festive of Christmas films. We're not talking constant gift wrapping or baking of cookies or, you know, caroling or whatever. So it could certainly be more Christmassy, but I still enjoyed it.